country can effectively fight corruption alone. As we go into the summit, there's a lot we can learn from the champions we're celebrating today. First, to fight corruption, we need leaders from every part of our societies to step up. Journalists, prosecutors, activists, business leaders, academics, educators, government officials. Second, as corrupt actors grow increasingly skilled at spreading their illicit activities and networks across borders, anti-corruption champions must do the same, finding partners in every field and part of the world. And we need to systematically fix the weakest links in our interconnected system. That's what Belize's Auditor General, Dorothy Bradley, did when she exposed how smugglers, traffickers, and other criminals were paying bribes to obtain Belizean passports and visas, which they were using to escape accountability. Third, the secret weapon of anti-corruption champions everywhere, and the reason many of this year's awardees have been effective in countering impunity despite the powerful forces arrayed against them, is that they have most people on their side. People have experienced and understand to their core just how harmful and unjust corruption is. A 2017 poll found 1 in 4 people around the world had paid a bribe during the last year. Corruption is estimated to cost up to 5% of global GDP. In the majority of countries, people think corruption is one of the 3 biggest problems they face. And in the majority of countries, people think governments are doing a bad job tackling corruption. Just look at the broad-based uprisings around the world in recent years. In the Maidan in Ukraine and Tahrir Square in Egypt, the mass movements in Romania, Tunisia, Sudan, Guatemala, you'll find they're driven by a total revulsion at corruption. That's why people in Cyprus responded to calls by Alexandra Adelidis to come out into the streets to demand accountability for corrupt officials who had sold passports to high bidders. And it's why people often rally behind anti-corruption champions when they come under attack for their work. That's what happened to Martha Chizuma, the youngest person and first woman to lead Malawi's Anti-Corruption Bureau. She worked hard to root out graft in public projects and electoral systems. She was so good at her job that politicians blocked her from being reappointed. But people from across Malawi came out to demand she stay on, including civil society groups, government officials, and ordinary citizens who believed in her and what she was trying to do. Under pressure, politicians reversed their decision and reappointed Martha. The people we recognize today have been threatened, smeared, harmed for their work. Just a few months ago, Riyad Kobesi, a Lebanese journalist, had his windshield smashed while reporting a story on abuses by security forces. Despite the attacks, Riyad and the other honorees have persisted, and we're grateful to them. To today's honorees, thank you for your inspiring and essential work. The United States is honored to be your partner, now and going forward. And to all, congratulations.
استمعنا إلى تصريح وزير الخارجية الأمريكي الذي أعلن خلال هذا الحفل الافتراضي عن أسماء الفائزين بجائزة أبطال مكافحة الفساد الدولية، والتي كانت الإدارة الأمريكية الجديدة قد يعني أطلقت هذه الجائزة. ومن ضمن الفائزين الزميل رياض بيسي الذي فاز يعني شخصيا ووحده في منطقة الشرق الأوسط بهذه الجائزة، ولذلك مبروك وألف مبروك للزميل رياض بيسي، مع التذكير بأنها ليست الجائزة الأولى الدولية التي يحظى بها الزميل رياض بيسي. سنستمع في هذه الأثناء أيضا يعني إلى كافة الأسماء الفائزة بهذه الجائزة ونعود لمتابعة النقاش.
We're funding judicial network and anti-corruption training programs in Europe and Eurasia. The United States and our partners are seeing real results. Equally important are department efforts to build partner capacity to prevent corruption in the first place. Whatever our tools, only by working together can we stop corrupt actors from operating with impunity. And so, on behalf of the Department of State, it is my honor to name 12 anti-corruption champions from across the globe. These courageous individuals have overcome great obstacles to lead and inspire many others in the fight against corruption. Men and women, government officials, and non-governmental activists whose remarkable achievements have promoted development, peace, and security in their communities and countries. Today, the Department of State recognizes the following individuals as anti-corruption champions. Dorothy Bradley, for exposing corrupt practices and illegalities in the sale of Belizean passports and visas, and for bringing to light a scheme to illegitimately bestow Belizean citizenship to foreign nationals. Nikolai Stykov, for his heroic investigative journalism that unveiled high-profile public corruption cases and inspired widespread public demand for good governance and rule of law in Bulgaria. Alexandra Atalidis, for her efforts to organize and lead the first significant anti-corruption demonstrations ever to take place in the Republic of Cyprus, inspiring fellow citizens to demand action against corruption. Carlos Giovanni Ruano Pineda, for his service in upholding the integrity of the Guatemalan justice sector for more than 13 years, and for his vocal defense of judicial independence and democratic norms through his leadership of the Guatemalan Association of Integrity for Judges. Gabriela Alejandra Castellanos, for her courage on the front lines in the fight against corruption as Executive Director of the National Anti-Corruption Council, and her commitment to investigating the toughest cases in Honduras. Jamilaya Maricheva, for her innovative use of social media to break the cultural code of accepting and expecting corruption in Kazakhstan's government procurement system. Juris Juris, for his bravery leading the successful prosecution of oligarch and global Magnitsky designee Ivers Lembergs, achieving Latvia's highest profile conviction for corruption-related charges. Riyad Kobayesi, for his integrity, leadership, and courage in confronting corruption in the public sector and exposing bribery and smuggling through his accountability journalism in Lebanon. Martha Chizuma, for her leadership, courage, and impact countering corruption at all levels in procurement and election matters while serving as Director General of the Anti-Corruption Bureau and Ombudsman in Malawi. Denise Namburetti, for displaying exceptional courage in holding government officials accountable for massive fraud and promoting a sovereign wealth fund in Mozambique to responsibly manage future revenues for natural resources. Dr. Topat Yamatnak, for his courage while advancing societal anti-corruption awareness, community policing, procurement reform, government data transparency, and youth engagement in Thailand. And finally, Carlos Paparoni, for his bravery as key investigator and spokesperson against corruption in Venezuela and his efforts to constrict the corruption and money laundering that fund the regime's anti-authoritarian grip. I wish we could gather together in person to celebrate the courageous and inspiring work of these individuals. Each of you has your own story and is deserving of this recognition. As the world commemorates International Anti-Corruption Day, the United States renews its commitment to stand by citizens around the world, calling for transparent, accountable governments. We proudly recognize these champions and many other unsung partners across the world who have taken a stand against corruption. It is because of individuals like these that our collective work towards a safer and more secure world continues.
إذا مشاهدينا، استمعنا إلى حفل توزيع جائزة أبطال مكافحة الفساد الدولية، والتي أطلقتها الإدارة الأمريكية وتحديدا وزارة الخارجية الأمريكية العام الماضي. وكان من ضمن الفائزين من منطقة الشرق الأوسط الزميل رياض قبيسي، وذلك عن مجمل أعماله في الصحافة الاستقصائية. وأعطيت هذه الجائزة له بناء على نزاهته وشجاعته وقيادته في مكافحة الفساد والرشوة ضمن مجمل التحقيقات الاستقصائية التي قام بها يعني في السنوات الماضية. وطبعا هذه ليست الجائزة الوحيدة التي حصل عليها الزميل رياض قبيسي، بل هي ربما الجائزة الثامنة. وسبق للزميل رياض قبيسي أن حصد عدد من الجوائز الدولية، نذكر منها على سبيل المثال فوزه بالمركز الأول من مؤسسة تومسون فاونديشن عن الوثائق السلاح زينة السلاح، وهو عن تجارة السلاح في لبنان، وأيضا وثائقي نومادام الذي فاز فيه بالمركز الثالث من مؤسسة تومسون فاونديشن. ومؤخرا كان الزميل رياض قبيسي قد حصل على جائزة الشيخ تميم بن حمد الثاني الدولية بالتعاون مع مكتب الأمم المتحدة المعني بالمخدرات، وذلك عن مجمل أعماله من التحقيقات الاستقصائية. واليوم يحصد الزميل رياض قبيسي هذه الجائزة الجديدة، فألف مبروك لرياض وطبعا لكل أسرة تلفزيون الجديد. وبذلك نعود إلى مجريات هذا الحوار مع الدكتور علي زبيب. أهلا وسهلا فيك مجددا.
أهلا فيك. أول شيء أنا بدي هني للصديق رياض قبيسي، اللي نحن إذا بدك المشوار الإعلامي الاستقصائي اللي بلشوا كنت لما كان بعده السوق بشكل عام في نوع من التابو للحديث عن المصرف المركزي ودور الحاكمية. عم نحكي نحن عام 2014 أو 2015. بوقتها طلعنا وحكينا عن المادة 19 والمادة 20
قلنا أدو تسليف
تماما، وقلنا عن وجوب إقالة من يخالف واجباته الوظيفية أو من يتخطى القانون عبر أي مصالح تتنافى مع قانون النقد والتسليف.
كان ضمن سلسلة تحقيقات سويس ليكس.
صح. فأنا بدي هنيه مرة جديدة على الجائزة، وبتصور الوزير الخارجية كأنه بس
ذكروا له بالاسم. نرجع للنقاش حول تفاصيل هذا القانون. كنا عم نحكي نحن على أنه المادة الثامنة في هذا القانون المقترح من قبل